women who are motivational, inspirational. And today I have an amazing guest with me on, my friend Renee Archambault. Thank you so much, Renee, for joining us today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Renee's going to share her story with you, and I hope you enjoy the show. So Renee, we're going to get right into it. Your story, everyone has a story.
Right.
Everyone has moments in their life that shape them who they are today. And so tell the viewers about your story.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Well, so my name is Renee Archambault, as you know, and I've lived in Frisco for 12 years. I have a daughter, Zoe, who's 15, so we are driving now, and that's exciting. My husband, Rene, and I have been married for almost 20 years, and I grew up in Dallas, and so I've always been a Texas girl.
Okay.
I lived in Dallas, grew up there, went to Fort Worth for college, so I just went about 45 minutes away and then came right back. So I love this great state, and it's been so good to me and my family, and so I'm a fifth generation North Texan, and so we kind of planted ourselves here, and we haven't left, and so I'm hoping my daughter does the same. I hope she loves Texas as much as we have, and kind of finds her home here too, so we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So that's a rarity, considering, it's a land of transplants.
Yes,
let's be honest.
It is, absolutely.
And, I've been here almost 6 years now, and so, which I feel like has been a long time.
Yes.
And so when you hear of someone that's been here 5 generations, that's definitely a rarity. How do you, as someone who's a native Texan, view just the fact that Texas has become a land of transplants?
I love it. I mean, I love the rich diversity of our state, but also Frisco. I mean, we have 1,000 new people that are moving here every month, which is crazy. Yeah. And so when we first moved to Frisco, we were being here for 12 years. We've seen a lot of growth, and we've seen a lot of our community, grow and change. And I love it. I think it's indicative of what the world is. And I wanted to raise my daughter in a place that was welcoming and open and inclusive and kind. And so seeing that rich diversity change over time has been really exciting. And I think that it's been good for her to meet new people from all over the world that are moving to Frisco, and so they're getting to create their Frisco story together, and I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. What brought you to Frisco?
My husband and I, we lived in Dallas. And we were deciding where we wanted to live. We lived in Lakewood, so kind of the East Dallas area. Okay. And we, at the time, had a 3-year-old, and we're like, if we're going to be here, we need to make sure that we're living in, a neighborhood that we like the schools, and it's a good fit for our family. And so we started looking at Dallas ISD. We looked at some private schools in the area, just trying to see what are the options that are out there. And we started looking at home prices in Dallas and thought, wow, that's a lot. So let's maybe find somewhere that's a bit more affordable. So we started looking kind of in the north, a little bit north. We looked in Plano, Allen, McKinney, and Frisco. And after we, started looking at all the schools, we fell in love with Frisco. Frisco ISD schools are incredible. And we knew that we would be really happy here with, raising our daughter in the school system. And so we chose Frisco for the schools like a lot of people do.
Of course.
Yeah.
Did you ever think it would be as diverse as it is now?
It wasn't something that I really gave a lot of thought to. Yeah. So I'm excited for the diversity that Frisco has become, for sure. But it wasn't really something that I didn't give a lot of thought to that. We just loved it, and we're excited for what it was, and we're even more excited for what it's become.
And so we're thinking 12 years ago, right?
Yes, 12 years ago.
So 12 years ago, what was the population of Frisco?
Gosh, I don't know, like low 100s, right? Maybe somewhere in there, like 110, 115.
Well, so I moved here almost 6 years ago. It was 115,000.
Oh, it was. So it was maybe even less than 100 then when we moved. Yeah. It was even hard to find land there, though. At that point, to build a house, like we were trying to find a space. We really fell in love with Purefoy Elementary, and so we were trying to find space over in that area. And even at that time, 12 years ago, it was tough. So I can't imagine people moving here now. I mean, there's just the housing market is crazy in Frisco.
But I don't know when it wasn't crazy.
I don't either. I don't either. I mean, there were 2 lots in our neighborhood when we moved there, so we grabbed one. We're like, we'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have a daughter.
I do.
And what about your line of work?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So I work for SMU, Southern Methodist University. I have been in higher education for 18 years, always at SMU. So I actually helped start a grad school at SMU in video game development and design.
Okay.
So I've always been involved in education at some level, usually in the area of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so our grad program kind of fits under that umbrella of STEM. And so so I've been there for 18 years. We started the program in 2003, and it's still going strong. So it's just been a joy to be able to help grow something. It's very much a startup culture. Game development in general is kind of that startup culture. It's really fun and creative and innovative. And so to be a part of something from the ground level and help grow that over time has just been so fun.
Are there females in that program? Has there been females in that program?
Yes, that was one of my big pushes when we got into this. That was when we sat down and said, okay, what are our goals for this program? Ours really, my goal was to help women find representation in this industry, and it's something that's really important to me. Creative arts are better when we have women involved. There are a lot of industries that are very male dominated, and game development is absolutely one of them. I think when we started the program, 96% of developers were men. And so we only had 4% representation, and that was almost 20 years ago, and it's grown by leaps and bounds. And so that was a big goal of mine, making sure that the program put more women into this space, but also helping women understand and young girls understand that this is a really great industry to be in. There's a lot of opportunity. There's some really great things that women have done in this industry and continue to do, and they're innovative. So we started working with students in Dallas ISD because it's right around SMU, Plano ISD as well because we were on the Plano campus for 17 of our 18 years. So we were working with young girls to show them this is a really great industry for you to be in. And we wanted to make sure from the middle school level on the girls understood that they had a place in STEM. And so we were really passionate about working with companies like Microsoft helped us to do that. They have a really great program called DigiGirls that it puts this kind of content in front of young women to kind of show them, hey, not only can you be represented here, but you can thrive here, you can lead here. And so we've worked with a lot of corporations over the last 18 years to get this content and this information in front of girls, to get them excited about STEM.
That's outstanding. And the one thing that I can think of is because a female, such as yourself, is leading that program.
Yeah, right.
Imagine if it was a man. And this is not to knock men by any means.
Yeah.
We just see things very differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're a leadership team for our program. We have our director, Gary Brubaker, and then myself and Elizabeth Stringer. We are the deputy directors of the program. So it's the three of us. And so he put women into his leadership team because he felt, that was a really important piece of what we were trying to accomplish and that we had to do it together. And so I give him a lot of credit for really being very a visionary, not only with what we're doing with our program, but also having that inclusive environment, at SMU is awesome. So
do you see females that enter the program perhaps with a different mindset and they come out with a different mindset?
Yeah, so when we started the program, we would have one or two women that would apply, and so when they would come into our program, they're 2 of 40, and so it was tough. You could see there was some trepidation. There was a little bit of they held back a little bit, and now it doesn't even faze them. I mean, I try to make sure that our classes are at least 40% women, if not a straight 50-50. That's kind of that's my goal every cycle, every admission cycle, to make sure that we have as equal as we can. And so it's been really fun to watch them now. It's not even a thought in their mind. There's no trepidation because they've been involved in STEM-based courses since they were little. A lot of the students that are coming to our program now, I've known them since they were in middle school, and so I helped mentor them and work with them to make sure that they knew that this ending point in grad school is something that we could help them with, and we could accomplish it together. So
and I didn't even know this exists.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. So, I started working with some of these kids, boys and girls, when they were 11 years old, and now they're grad students with us. So it makes me feel old, but it's but it's been really good.
I had no idea that they were coached from that age onwards.
When it was a really big advocacy piece for me. When we started working with Dallas ISD, I started working with a lot of their middle schools and high schools. I'm on their advisory council for one of their high schools that helps first generation college students get ready. They graduate from this Dallas ISD high school, Conrad High School, with an associate's degree in gaming. And so we work with Richland College as our partner. And so we are seeing 40 to 50 students every year graduate in their gaming program, and then we help them, find that next step before they come to our program to do grad school.
That's amazing. The fact that exists, and I hope you're able to expand that.
Me too. It's a great pipeline, and it's we work with a lot of ISDs in the area as well, and so we're always looking to expand those partnerships to make sure that kids know that hey, this is a really great thing that you can do with your talent. I mean, you're creative. Our students come in and they either major in art or programming, design or production, and then they work in interdisciplinary teams making games the entire time they're with us. And so we want to show kids, hey, if you can do anything in gaming based on what your interest is. And so artists have a space here, programmers have a space here. If you're business minded, you have a space here. And so it's just opening up opportunities for kids.
Well, and that's empowering, Renee.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So you also, so that's your line of work, and you're empowering in that sense. You also are a part of something else.
Yes, I am.
And so you are a Frisco ISD school board trustee.
I am a trustee, yes.
And you are actually up for re-election now.
I am.
But before we talk about that, can you talk about your experience in being a trustee, your experience or your why as to why you wanted to pursue this role, and just kind of some of the experience around it.
Yeah, so back in 2018, I ran for school board for the first time, and I had never considered being in public office. I didn't really have a desire to run. I always followed politics, but more from an educational perspective, more from a policy perspective, to see how I could lend my voice to perhaps advocacy efforts and policy surrounding education. And so when I started working with Dallas ISD, I met some trustees. That was my first sort of toe in the water. And I'm like, this is so cool that you guys get to actually go and advocate for your community in this way, but also work with state legislators to create really meaningful policies for your students and teachers. And so then it kind of lit that fire, right? Because then you see something, you're like, wait a minute, like you can do this, I could do this. And so living in Frisco ISD, I knew a lot about the district just based on our experiences having our daughter Zoe as a student, but I didn't know much else. I mean, honestly, other than the parent experience, I didn't really know much else. And so back in 2016-ish, when I kind of decided, hey, this might be something I want to do, I just delved into everything Frisco ISD. I joined the Long Range Planning Committee. I was on the budgeting subcommittee. I joined the Frisco ISD Insight class to really, learn some behind-the-scenes stuff about the district. I met with teachers and staff and tried to understand what are the concerns and what areas are we excelling and how can we be doing better. Are there advocacy pieces that are missing that I could lend my voice to? Even, prior to running, how can I be impactful and helpful in the community? And then I also worked with Marion Schultz. She asked if I would serve on the governing board for the Fast Packs of Frisco. And I tell you what, I just started seeing all of these pieces come together of how what a partnership this community actually was. And I just wanted to be a bigger part of it and be able to use my at that point, 15 years of higher education experience. I have a master's degree in education policy and leadership as well. So I did the advocacy piece in Austin long before I decided that this was something I wanted to do. And so I really, kind of thought, well, gosh, I could bring all this together and be a solid, nonpartisan voice sitting on this school board and advocating for our students and teachers. And so learning more about the district and hearing from teachers and students and families of the things they thought were working really well and the pieces that they really felt like we could expand on and increase our reach and our opportunities for our students. I was asked by a couple of folks if I would consider running for an open seat. I didn't want to go up against an incumbent. That was not my jam. But there was an open seat in 2018. John Hoxie held that seat prior to me, and he and I knew each other, and he said, I think this would be great if it's something that you want to, if you decide you want to run. And so because I'd made a lot of really great relationships within Frisco ISD, it just seemed to be a really natural kind of next step. So I ran, and elections are really hard, as you know.
Yes, I know.
As you know, elections are really hard. It's not anything you can ever prepare for. And even my second time around right now, I still feel very unprepared for the campaigning side of this because I'm not naturally someone who likes to argue. I don't really want to fight. And things can get pretty aggressive out there, even for something like school board where we should just be talking about kids and teachers, but it always tends to turn a little political in Frisco.
Do you feel since 2018 and now we're into 2021, and last year was not an easy year for anyone. And for you to be on the governing side of things and having to make some really, really hard decisions, knowing that you're not going to please everyone.
Right.
So considering all of that, what would you say about that experience and how that's carrying over to you campaigning now?
Yeah, I think that it was a hard year, and it's still a hard year. I mean, we're still in the middle of, COVID, even though we're inching closer to the recovery efforts for COVID. We still are in a really tough spot, and families have been impacted. I mean, their economics have been impacted, their health has been impacted. There's not an area of life that has not been impacted by COVID. And so, it's tough, and we know that it's been really hard for our families, for our teachers and staff. And so we've tried to be a very calming, measured leadership body, because we know that if we get amped up and we're worried and we're waffly about what decisions we need to make, that it's not going to make our families feel very confident. So we know that we knew going into this that there were going to be some decisions that we made. I mean, leadership is hard, and we knew that there were going to be things that we did that were not going to make people very happy. But we've always tried to follow the science. We've always followed the guidance of health experts. We are not health experts. That is not something that our school board. That's not something we do. We do not pass on medical advice to people.
No.
Thank goodness. And so, we're following the experts out there, and that is something that we have stayed really strong with. When this first started, we really didn't have great data. I mean, Frisco IC is across 2 counties, and so we were getting data from Collin County and Denton County, but the way they were reporting it was different, and their health experts are different, and so that made it challenging for us because we didn't want to have restrictions. Our big concern, we had a lot of big concerns, but we were concerned that there are Collin County campuses and Denton County campuses who are going to have different, disease mitigation protocols, and luckily we were able to do that as one governing body of Frisco ISD and create that for our entire district.
But we didn't feel the difference.
But it was at the beginning we just didn't know where that was going to go. And Frisco ISD is governed by the state. We're governed by the TEA, Texas Education Agency, but we also have governing bodies here locally that we have to adhere to. We've got city governance, county governance, and so that's a lot of people that we're trying to figure out for their communities and their constituents how best to serve them. And so we were kind of at the mercy of some of those agencies as well. But I think that we are being on the tail end of it right now, especially with the school year almost ending. I think that we're poised to be in a really strong space to be able to finish strong. We're one of the only districts in North Texas that has not had to close a campus this entire time. And so we're really proud of that. And I think it's because, honestly, our staff they've done a great job. I mean, not only are they just doing great on the academic side of the house, but they're doing great on the safety side of the house as well. They've really done a great job at balancing, staying future focused, making sure that these kids are getting the education that they need, that they're getting prepared for the next year, while also kind of managing that day-to-day crisis. And so we've partnered with a lot of members of our community. Our teachers and staff are our biggest partners, and so we've all worked together just to try to get through this year and provide the quality education that Frisco ISD is known for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, proud Frisco ISD parent, very happy with all the decisions that you all have made.
What did you do with the money you saved on electricity by switching to discount power? I took all my friends out to dinner.
I paid off all my credit cards.
I took my whole family on a vacation.
I bought all this.
At Discount Power, saving you money on electricity is our business. What you do with it is yours. Great rates, great service. Simple. Visit discountpowertx.com today and save.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonia Reddy. We're a full-service practice focused on dental implants, cosmetic veneers, sleep apnea, and braces. If you're embarrassed with your smile or have chipped, cracked teeth, call our office for your free consultation. I'll personally take care of you.
For all your real estate, commercial or residential needs, contact Hassan Sumbro at kw.com or call 972-333-4801. Hassan Sumbro, Realtor with Keller Williams. Glow and Grow with Cheese, a digital recreational platform for homemakers. Follow Glow and Grow on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube because we all could use a little reminder of how awesome we are.
Marine Mill Supply deals in casters and wheels since last 52 years. For more information, contact 9232431374, 9232421821, or you can visit our website www.mmscasters.com.
Solar company has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, OneSolarSolution.com. Which solar company offers in-house financing with the best rate and easy approval? OneSolarSolution.com. And which company has the best looking brand ambassador? no one else. OneSolarSolution.com. Look, I know you want solar, and everybody does, but you might think it's expensive. If we can't match your electric bill with our in-house financing, we'll cut you a check or gift card for $25 just for the try. Go to OneSolarSolution.com today.
You're watching Fire Within Her. Welcome back. We have our guest today, Renee Archambault, Frisco ISD School Board Trustee, and we were talking about her experience with being on the school board. And now we're getting into your re-election.
Yeah.
One of the things that I see that's coming up is parents complaining about masks.
Yeah.
We're still talking about masks.
I know. It's been an ongoing topic. It's been a hot topic this year.
Very hot topic.
Yeah.
And Frisco ISD, as you mentioned earlier, has been one of the only districts that has not shut down in North Texas.
Right.
Clearly that's because of the safety precautions that you all have, diligently put into place.
Yes.
So how are you, as a governing body, dealing with the anti-mask, uproar?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Masks became very political in this in the 2020 presidential cycle, right? And so there are things that come up that become partisan that still surprise me. Even being a local politician, a local elected official, I'm still very surprised by things that become political that are have been proven by science to work. I mean, this is just something that when the CDC says here's why masks work when both people are wearing them, here's how we can show you that they work, and so that's great. It's crazy to me how political it became. So we knew going into this year, because we were met with such strong divide in our community with masking and with social distancing and with things being shut down and then reopened and shut down again. I mean, it was a really scary time for people. And I think people just naturally want to be able to, to control something in the middle of a crisis. And so that's something that's, an easy thing for them to control. Am I going to wear this mask or not? And so I think a lot of that, in my opinion, a lot of that was just out of frustration and fear. And so I understand that. I mean, being a parent and having my parents are in their late 60s, and so I was concerned about them. And when fear comes into the equation, I think that it becomes, your reactions become very aggressive in some ways. You're trying to protect your family, you're trying to protect yourself. And so I definitely understand the frustration and the aggression behind the mask debate. I definitely understand it. But, the mitigation protocols that we've put into place for this virus over the last year, they've worked to keep our campuses open, and they've worked to, for the most part, keep our community fairly healthy. We certainly have had thousands of cases throughout Frisco ISD. We've had thousands of students and teachers and staff that have had to quarantine. But, that's another mitigation protocol. That's another thing that we can do to reduce the spread of this virus in our community and cause major issues for our kids and for our students, teachers, and staff. So I understand where we are with that. But as Frisco ISD, and when I speak for Frisco ISD, I'm speaking as one of 7. So I'm only speaking for myself. I don't want to ever speak on behalf of the board because that's not something that we do. But so for myself, I think that we are so close at the end of school. I support keeping masks in place while our teachers and our staff are being vaccinated. The week that the governor removed the mask mandate was the exact same week that our teachers were finally prioritized for the vaccine. And so we want to give them time to be able to get vaccinated if that's something they want to do. And as you know, it's a long process to be vaccinated against this virus. The Johnson & Johnson shot that just came out is faster, but until recently we've only had the 2-shot system. And so
which is like a total of 6 weeks.
It's about
6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's a 6-week process to be able to be fully vaccinated against this virus. And so we think that, we always think about our students and teachers and staff. Our teachers and staff are the most susceptible to having a really bad reaction to this virus. And so as the largest employer in Frisco, with over 8,000 employees in our district, we have to give them a safe environment in which to come to work. And so that was a big part of kind of that decision. The TEA gave us the option to go mask optional. It did not seem like any trustee was interested in doing that while our teachers and staff were being vaccinated. And so, that may come up towards the end of the year, but it doesn't seem to be something that anyone's interested in doing right now.
Yeah.
If it were, it would be something that we would talk about in an open meeting. And I have not seen it on an agenda, so I'm guessing that there's not a trustee or two that have decided that that's something that they want to discuss right now. That's how I know, because I don't see it on an agenda. So, I support masks right now. I would support a mask optional environment for the fall. I think we're going to be in a much different space in the fall than we are right now. And so I am absolutely, once we have the bulk of our staff who want to be vaccinated, then I am completely comfortable going mask optional for next year.
And I feel like as a candidate, you shouldn't have to be talking about something that is so temporary.
It's so temporary.
And things are constantly evolving and changing week by week, day by day. The questions you should be getting are, questions based around teachers and staff and students.
And future,
and the future, the betterment. Yeah. And so it's sad that it's been, the issues have been bogged down because of that. Because they've gotten so divisive and partisan. When it's a nonpartisan position.
It's a nonpartisan position, and certainly they're trying, there are members of the community that, support my opponent, who has said that she believes that we should be mask optional right now. So that's definitely a divide between where I stand and where she stands. And they're trying to make that a huge issue. And I'm like you, it's shocking to me that we're spending so much time talking about that when after this election, and the election's May 1st, we have 3 weeks of school after that. So whoever wins this seat, if I retain the seat or if my opponent wins, it's 3 weeks and then we move on. And the new trustee, if I am reinstalled in this position, or if my opponent wins, we're not sworn in until June. And so it's going to be it's beside the point at that at that point. So I think we need to be talking about things that are really important. I think we need to talk about COVID recovery with academic progress and with mental health support. I think we need to talk about our fast-growing district. We're still growing. We still have 20,000 kids that are going to make FISC their home before we're a build-out. How are we going to make sure that those generations of students have the same opportunities that ours do now? How are we going to grow successfully with opening more campuses, keeping our class sizes low, making sure we're staying future focused and focusing on the whole child? Those are the conversations that I think we need to be having. I think it's insane that we're still talking about masks.
I know, absolutely. But it's become just a point of contention and a talking point for candidates, right?
It has
to get people on either side. And so
it's definitely a divisive issue.
Exactly. But I mean, while we have you here, can you do you want to share with the audience perhaps something that they can remember you by when they go to the polls?
I love public education, and I am a staunch supporter and advocate for Frisco ISD. And I think public education, it is the great American equalizer. It can change lives. It can be life-changing, and it can be life-saving. I mean, we've seen it in our own schools, our own campuses. When kids come to school and they have a purpose and they find that support in the classroom and out of the classroom, it changes who they are. And so I think the thing I would really like for Frisco ISD voters to know is that I am the pro-public education candidate. That is my passion. That's why I ran for this position in the first place. I hope that people that are voting, that they want to vote for someone who believes in public education, who believes in Frisco ISD, because those are at the very core of who I am and why I decided to do this. Those are my two guiding principles. I believe in education, and I believe in Frisco.
And I believe in you, Renee.
Thank you.
And people also, I think, need to understand how accessible you are. And I
try to be.
And that's important. And you will say if you have an answer, and if you don't,
I'll find it.
You'll find it.
Right.
And so,
thank you.
And I think that's important.
Yeah.
So the show is about empowerment. And
yes.
I feel very empowered just talking to you.
Yes, I feel empowered every time I'm around you. So I feel the same.
I'm a big fan. Thank you. I'm a big fan of public education.
Yeah.
Public education all the way for me.
Yes.
Even university, master's, it was all public for me. So huge fan.
Yeah.
What are some, words of advice that you can say to women, children that are watching, or even, even men that would be watching?
For sure.
Something empowering that advice you would give to them?
Okay, so and this is I'm gonna kind of take this tagline from Frisco ISD because I believe in it so strongly. Our motto this year has been Stronger Together, and I think that there is nothing more empowering than going through life with a purpose and with other people, serving your community, serving each other, lifting each other up in times of struggle. I think there's nothing more empowering than knowing that you have someone to go through it with. And so, I have had people in my life that have definitely lifted me up in some of my darkest moments, and who have cheered me on when things have been really great. And so I think that Stronger Together motto is important always, but it's been really important for this last year. So I just think it's, stick together and get through things and work hand in hand with people to make this place better than you found it. And that's how I've always tried to live my life, and something that I am trying to instill in my daughter so that she knows, like, you have two hands that can change the world. Please do that. Please use your voice and please use your hands to make the place better than you found it. So I think that it's empowering to work together for a common goal. And so I think that if we focused on that instead of the divisiveness, that things would be a lot better.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of the word that we're all focusing on, which is unity.
Unity, absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because there's a lot of diversity in thought and in action, and I know that there are a lot of things that we all want to do in life, and we may have a different journey to get there. But I think our ultimate goal as human beings is to find purpose. And so I know that journey is very different for everyone, but if we could just kind of remember that regardless of, what party that you're in, political party, or what religion you ascribe to, or what you want to do at the end of the day, through all of that, we all have a common goal, and that's just to find purpose within ourselves and within each other. So I think it's important.
Blessed to live in a community
Yes.
that is so diverse, yet at the same time, we all have that common goal of communities.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's wonderful advice.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Renee, thank you for being on the show
Thank you for
today.
inviting me.
Yes.
This is so fun.
If you want to know more about Renee Archambault, you can find her information. What is your website, your Facebook page?
So my website is Renee for FISD, so RENEFOR FISD, one E, Renee4FISD.com, and then that's my Facebook page as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you can find out more about Renee. They can email you if they have questions.
Absolutely.
Connect with you.
For sure.
And election is?
So early voting is April 19th through the 27th.
Okay.
And then election day is May 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure, Frisco residents, you come out to the polls. Do your research. Nothing better than an informed voter.
Absolutely.
And I hope that we have provided you with enough information about Renee.
Thank you.
And so this is Fire Within Her. I'm your host, Sadaf. Thank you so much, Renee, for joining. Until next time.